Buckets
You.
coming in hot. Not a word, just here's a statement.
Interview done.
Looking like $1 million, putting the Fuhrers on.
I'll tell you, I don't feel like $1 million right now.
Well, you look
I'll tell you that.
So
thanks, guys.
That's all that
Thanks,
really
guys.
matters.
How are you?
We're good. We're good. Yeah.
We're just discussing the Rings of Power, the new Amazon series, the Lord of the Rings one. Have you seen any of it?
I haven't seen it, no.
It's good.
We're saying it's spectacularly shot. The budget for it was like $1 billion, but
that helps.
We're saying that if it's not good with $1 billion budget, you've really done something wrong. But it's pretty convoluted. And so Johnny's saying he's been watching some like behind the scenes YouTube videos to kind of catch himself up on it.
Yeah, he fully explains all the lore and mythology, and it's just like, holy shit, man, this is fucking deep. It goes deep.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
People looking into things way more. Then I don't have to worry about it. They can just do the research for me.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
But then, like, see, this because we're huge Marvel fans, so I'll go and watch all this shit, and then I'll go back to my mates. I'll be like, "Yeah, no, but did you know this is what this means?" And they'll be like,
take credit.
"Holy fuck, man! Like, you're a full-on nerd." And I'll be like, "Yeah, bro."
I'm the same with all the football. I just watch somebody else say their stuff, and then I just say it and try and sound smart.
Hey, now Nathan's not a football guy. Okay, so I'll keep this short. God, how do you feel after the weekend? That was rough.
Well, I don't know what you're on about, man.
I was gonna wear my Arsenal jersey for you today, but then I was like, nah, like you're the only team that's beaten us, so it's
I can rest happy there. No, it's fine. It'll be all right in the end. We seem to be moving in the right direction. I think it's like similar to you guys last season.
Yeah,
so hopefully we'll just keep going.
I will bring up one point though that you might find interesting is Haaland. Like, what an absolute freak that guy is. So this guy, he scored 3 against Manchester United the other day.
Are you a Manchester United fan?
Unfortunately, yeah. Otherwise, they'd be my favorite band.
He's insane, man.
He's already like, isn't he like 9 goals off?
He scored 3 hat tricks. He scored 3 hat tricks in 8 games. Yeah. And so, for example, Ronaldo in the Premier League, it took him like something like 700 games for that to happen.
Yeah, and what was the stat?
He's come over and just basically pissed all over our league. And everyone's going, "Oh, he's not going to be able to do it over here."
And he's Arsenal?
No, he's Manchester City. Yeah. So
right.
He's already almost. Has he equaled it already, or he's only a few goals away from equaling the Golden Boot from the entire last season, and it's 9 games in.
That's impressive. I can. So I played football. I just don't watch sports, so I can grasp the skill and talent that went into it, but I just have no interest in supporting teams. It's not my interest. That's fine.
You heard it here first. The breakdown with Nath and Johnny is going to be a football podcast before you know it.
God, I hope you got some spare time on your hands then.
A full change in direction.
Yeah, it's the breakdown with Sam and Johnny, and I'm just leaving. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Sam, dude, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. Look, it goes without saying, we're huge fans. We've been following you guys for a long, long time, and it is legitimately a pleasure to have you on here because we have absolutely loved everything you guys have done. And this is just rad for us.
I had a realization the other day. I was thinking about this, being like, you and I together went and watched Architects off the back of Hollow Crown.
We did.
With Comeback Kid.
Comeback Kid and Rolo Tomasi, maybe?
Yeah.
Very possibly, yeah. But very, very early days. So
yeah.
It is a pleasure to finally get you on here.
Where was that in Australia?
I feel like it might have been in Sydney, where Sydney's based.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was the Metro.
Yeah, that's a cool venue.
It is a cool venue. Yeah. You've outgrown the Metro now though.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah, we have just a little bit.
So exciting.
That's so sick. Yeah, that tour was so fun, man. I love that.
Hells yeah. That was Comeback Kid as well. What a time.
Fuck yeah.
But I guess on the subject of tours, by the time this video will be out, we can talk. You're coming back, baby.
Yeah, we are. We are.
So exciting.
That is fun that I can talk about that. Yeah, we're back in February, I think.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
That's what the people are saying.
Man, do you know what's funny about that is for like obviously everything happened with COVID, and everyone's been like, come back here, and like we want you to come here, and obviously like that's super rad that everybody wants us to come places. But with Australia, it's funny because I think we did 2 tours back to back in Australia where we didn't do anywhere else. Like we did like a full, that last full run that we did over there, and then we did Unify literally straight after it. So I remember when we first went to Australia, everyone was like, oh, you know, you got to really space it out and like, you know, do it like every year or a couple of years or whatever. And then yeah, we got the offer for Unify, and then we were like, oh fuck it, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do both of it. And then everyone was like, come back, you haven't been here for ages, and you're like, you think that? Yeah, like, you should hear Germany, mate. Like we haven't done Germany since like 2018 or 19. So you know, yeah, we're really excited, man. Like, yeah, it's going to be amazing. I don't think we've been in Australia. Yeah, obviously we haven't. Holy Hell was the last time we were in Australia. So
yeah, it's 2019.
Yeah, we got two records worth of.
Was that Big Top
hits?
Yeah, was that Big Top?
Yeah, we saw you there at the Big Top.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's, do you know what's so funny as well? Because
I think Unify, that festival is the only time I haven't seen you. Every time you've come out.
Yeah,
it's probably it.
That's not really Architect's headline show anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're still good. That helps.
You're fine. Thank you.
I was there.
We tried. Yeah, Australia's funny, man, because we came, not funny, just it's funny because it's like it's you have to laugh at something when it's does so well. Like I don't understand it. You know, from the first time we went to Australia was with Parkway. It was like Parkway, us, and August Burns Red. And I just remember being like, we played River Stage. I think that was one of the first shows in Brisbane. And I remember being like, how are there this many people for 3 bands? What the fuck is going on? This is like a festival.
We went on first. It's so far away. We have to make the most of every chance we get.
It's so good, man. We went on first. I remember we opened with Early Grave. That's my memory of it. That's how long ago it was, full Hollow Crown time. And even then, people knew the words and were like singing along. And I just remember being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we played shows in the UK that people weren't singing along that loud at that point. And then every time since then, it's almost like because we got the kind of nod from Parkway, and then we went over with Amity, and it was almost like the Australian bands were kind of giving us the like nod of like, yeah, we think these guys are cool and they're good people. And then everyone in Australia was like, well, you're fucking one of us.
Yeah, 100%.
And we were like, of course we fucking are. We love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, every time it's one of those tours that you really look forward to. But like on the last run, I just couldn't believe it. Like I always knew we were doing like all right in Australia, and I always enjoyed our times there, and our shows there were fantastic. But last time was like a proper jump in venues, and it felt really like this is silly. Like, I mean, being able to do like 4 or 5 shows of that size was mad.
You've got Horden Pavilion in Sydney this time round. That's a serious venue.
That's a big
venue, headlining, which is incredible. And I feel like the new material is going to allow a new audience as well. That's going to just fill that place out.
We haven't fucking been there since we got #1 in Australia.
Yeah,
on the fucking ARIA chart.
Hell yeah!
So I need to thank everyone when we're there.
Individually, we all request
every single person.
It's part of the
rules. We do a meet and greet at the end of the night and just shake everybody's hand. Thank you.
How are you in City for 4 weeks? It was just meet and greets the whole time.
Yeah, just sat there like, thank you, and like, did you buy the record? Yeah, thank you. Did you? Yeah, thank you.
I streamed it once.
I borrowed it off a friend.
I'll have to stream it overnight. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Thanks. Numbers. That's you know what? That's a funny thing. So last year or the year before, 2020, when we did like the Spotify does like the wrap up. We have our own Spotify account for my gym, just so it wasn't like always streaming off mine. And it got to the year and we were like, oh, I wonder what the wrap up, what do we've listened to the most this year? And it was a song that like none of us had listened to, because Lane one day listened to the song, turned the speaker off and left the thing playing, and it played Candy Paint by Post Malone on repeat for a weekend. And so that was our #1 song for the year. And it fucked the algorithm completely.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like, what the fuck is Candy Paint? Yeah, it was just Lane listening to 3 days straight.
I got like last year or the year before, I love that shit, like seeing like what I've listened to the most, and like it's normally always the fucking Beatles. But last year I was like, I was like, it said like, one of your most played artists is Architects. I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked in and it was like, it was Impermanence. So I'd listened to Impermanence like hundreds of times before we'd started playing it live, because it's got 3 verses, and the third verse just kept fucking with me. So I was like,
quite get your head around it.
I was like, I'm just going to listen to it over and over and over. And I guess I just streamed it on Spotify, because that's where I listen to most of my stuff, instead of just listening to it on iTunes. So I'd just be walking around, just be like, oh, I better listen to that, and just make sure it's drilled in. It was before we did that live Abbey Road thing. And then it got to the end of the year and I was like, this ain't my fucking Spotify. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. No,
I'd love one of those, the same one, like, they walk up here on the street, being like, what are you listening to? And Sam's like, Architects. So embarrassed.
I was just like, oh, do I really have to say? And you're like, I've got to think on my feet. Like, I think it's Bob Dylan. It's like, it sounds like it's screaming. It's like, yeah.
About that, like, are you ever like, because this is relevant, because this happened on the weekend, and I'll tell you what happened. Are you ever like in the car with mates or family or friends or whatever, and they've got a playlist on and your song comes on? What happens then? Is there a weird like, oh shit, skip it, man? Or do you just let it play and listen to yourself and not bring it up? Or
I'm always that kind of guy that's like, oh, that's shit. Or I'll just make like a joke. Or I'll just be like, I was like, shame about this new sound, isn't it? A bunch of weirdos now.
Because it happened
just pull out to something else, like, oh, it was better when he did Blair's. Like, what is this? What is this shit?
Just sing along at the top of your lungs.
Yeah. Oh, I know this one. Yeah. Well, it happened on the weekend, because we were hanging out with the boys from Error, and I had a couple of the boys in the car, and Snowblood by Error came on my playlist because it's on there, and like Brendan turns to Jesse, just goes, oh God. And I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Like, I can skip it if you want. He's like, it's like he didn't want to say skip it. No, so I was like, yeah, I'll skip it for you, man.
Yeah. Oh, I'd have lent over for you and just been like, no. Let's get Architects on here right now. Let's just have a chat.
You just get into your mates' cars, you're like, oh, you guys, check out this new album, and you just put your own music on. Pretty good.
It's funny. I got in a cab. When was this? I got in a cab like a couple of years back. And it's the only time it's ever happened. And we get loads of play on Radio 1 over here. And like Radio 1's like the kind of Triple J of the UK.
But way better.
Always played on there. And like this, it's always fun because you get friends texting you being like, you're on Radio 1. Like, you know, I'm hearing you. Like, this is cool. And I got in a cab and we were playing in the cab when I got in the cab. And I was like, well, this is fucking cool. Like, this has never happened. Like, and the cabbie just changed the radio station, immediately changed it, and was like, I'm so sorry about that. And I was like, can you put it back? I was like, you put it back. That's actually my band.
Did you say that to him?
Yeah, I was like, that's my band, man. And he was like, oh, sorry, I didn't think you'd want to hear anything heavy. You don't look like it. I was like, really? Come on, man.
I've got hand tats, man.
Yeah, I've waited my whole life for this moment.
Scream in his ear. Give him the Blair.
Yeah.
The Blair. What a thing that's become. Like
a phenomenon.
Right? Yeah. You're like just a modern. Oh, who's someone that created something amazing?
Definitely not us.
It's kind of like what's his name that just shouted "yeah" all the time?
Lil Jon,
like a rapper. Yeah.
Why do I know that so quickly?
It's metalcore's answer to Lil Jon.
With as much swagger, also.
Yeah.
You do chuck a sneaky one on the new album, don't you? There, hey?
Yeah,
the sneaky one.
Well, we both have been like, oh, that's cheeky, that's playful. Yeah. Also, not where you expect too, which I like it.
Bingo. Yeah, it's kind of it's one of those things. It's like it obviously became such a I don't know how it became such a thing. I think it became a thing when I said I hated it. When I was in a bad mood and someone was tweeting me about it, and I was like, just fuck off. But I obviously enjoyed it. Like the first bit of vocals I ever did, I played drums in like a hardcore band, and I dropped a Blair. Like this was like, how old would I have been? Must have been about 17, 18, like on an old like hardcore record. I just the only vocal I tracked was the literal Blair before a breakdown or like a really fast part, and it was funny because it was just like around in hardcore, like all the hardcore bands I used to listen to and all those bands that I would play shows with. It was really big with them. And then when I joined Architects, I think we did like a cover of someone, and then I just did one there, and then it was like, oh, that's fun. Like it sounds like you're spitting. That was my whole thing of like, it's just this weird noise. And then I got a little too into it in Lost Forever, and I got a little bit more into it on the record after. And then I remember I saw this video of this guy who just sat there and just played. It was just him reacting to every blur, like 4 minutes, and it was like blur, 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 blur. And I was sat there like,
I've gone overboard.
I was like, this is what I've become. I am now just the noise.
Congratulations, and you're a meme.
Exactly. I was like, oh, I've worked this hard in my life to now just be a noise.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a great level.
Forget the fact that you're like literally one of the best vocalists to come out of the genre. It's the bleh.
That was my thoughts exactly. I think that about myself, obviously.
That's why you put yourself on every playlist.
Exactly. I got to the point where, like, on the last one, I think especially off of the back of Holy Hell, where the lyrics were so personal and Dan was really taking everybody on this like journey of his grief and our grief, and then people would just talk. It felt to me, I think it's because I was just being so sensitive, and I was sensitive. I was really struggling. I was really, we'd lost our best friend, and I was just so aware of that. Like I would just be like, don't fucking talk about this noise that I've done. Like, talk about the fact that he's pouring his heart out here, and I'm trying to get that across to you with the way I'm singing these songs. That I just thought, it's almost like a teacher where you're like, right, well, if you're going to carry on being naughty, you're not going to have it. I'm just going to take it away from you and be like, this is
if your kids don't stop yelling, I'll turn the car around.
Exactly. And then yeah, just it was during like I kept seeing memes of it, and I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't work this hard in my life to be a meme. And then yeah, on this one, it worked out in a really funny way, because Spit the Bone is such an interesting song. And especially where it builds up into that kind of, it alludes to it being a breakdown. And then it's it's like a sort of weird kind of muse-ish, like electronic.
That's a great reference there. Yeah.
Almost, it just felt like a really sort of like a dancey aside, like a sort of like a dance breakdown almost. That I just thought, I was imagining the reactions of people listening to it and being like, what the fuck is this? And then them hearing that and being like, oh, cool, I like it now, because it had that there. Do you know what I mean? Like, them being like, just waiting for someone to slag it off, and then as soon as they start slagging it off, they almost miss the thing that they love.
Yeah.
Or just kind of showing that, like, oh no, we're still a heavy band. Dropping that like heavy line in the middle of it.
It sounds to me like you're just sitting there poking the fucking bear, poking these metalcore kids with a bleh stick, a little fucking bleh on the end of a fishing line, going, here you go. What? I love it. I think it's great.
All I do now is, especially like leading up into the record, is when people ask about it. Now I'm just like, cool, I'll take your likes and your stuff. I'll just retweet it, being like, maybe it's back, maybe it's not, and then everyone goes like, oh my god, maybe it's back. These other metalcore bands that must just be like, the fuck, man, like we make loads of noises.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you got Will Ramos doing pig squeal, pig growls, and oinks and things, and
that man sounds like he's walked through a farm with a fucking microphone.
100%. It's just down his throat.
It's fucking crazy.
It doesn't make sense. I was trying to explain to a friend the other day about Lorna Shore for some reason. I don't know why. We must have just done the video or something. And I was like, I'll just play you it, and I put that ambient on, and he was like, oh, don't do that. That was just no more, thank you. Hey, I want to go back to something you said several minutes ago, but just it reminded me of something I had. You said one of the first early Architects things you were doing was maybe a cover. And when we got given the album the other day, I was looking through the track listing, and I was like, and my heart jumped just for a second. I was like, have they done a fucking 9 Inch Nails cover? Because All the Love in the World. And I was like, what? And it could have been anything, just because I know that you guys have really flipped a switch on this album, done something a little bit different. But for a second there, I was like, those crazy motherfuckers have done a cover.
I wish we were bold enough to do that.
That's a great song too.
But it's funny because it does sound like you've pulled a few influences from Nine Inch Nails in a way, like that industrial tinge you've got.
Yeah, I think like by no means are we experts in like industrial music. So we're pretty like entry level. Well, I speak for myself, and the things are like, you know, Rammstein, Nine Inch Nails. But I've always kind of flirted with that kind of music, even like the electronic side of things, you know, like Pendulum, Prodigy. Never really gone like super deep. But I think what was interesting is off of the last record, like Animals was one of the last songs we wrote for Animals was one of the last songs we wrote off of, sorry, my phone just beeps now, so I'll put it on Do Not Disturb. I'm such a crap pro.
That's fine.
Animals was one of the last songs we wrote off of For Those That Wish to Exist, and then we did An Ordinary Extinction, and those were the two kind of most industrial-ish songs, I think, off of the last record. But they were two songs where it was like, oh, cool, like we've hit on something new and exciting and something that we hadn't really done as a band before. And when we went to the studio and we started tracking that's when we kind of knew that we had we had a fucking monster on our hands with Animals, but we definitely had struck a new world. And then when it came to doing this record, it was like, well, let's just lean into that. Let's lean into this new exciting thing that we're doing, because, you know, we've been a band for 15, 16 years. You as a person and as an artist and as a band, you want to be doing stuff that's exciting, almost like the first time you write a song and you're like, oh shit, that's not supposed to work, but it does, because there's no rules. You know, that's why so many people's first records are amazing, because they don't know what they're doing. But it doesn't mean that they're not brilliant. It's just they don't know that, like, oh, you shouldn't do this and this and this and all these rules and things that you're supposed to live by. They're just not there. So when we went into the studio and started doing this, it was like, okay, well, let's really go and base this record around synths and organic synths and modern synths and new synths and old synths and just everything that we can do. Percussion, everything was just done in the studio. So you would start, some songs would start with that in mind, and other songs, almost like Be Very Afraid and When We Were Young, they would come together super quick, and then you would bring in these elements, because you would be like, okay, so how do we make these sit within this record? Because I feel like the last record was so orchestral and organic and like human, whereas we really wanted this one to just be like dark, heavy, industrial, and just full on. It's sort of like, so they're different to each other, but sort of alluding to the same thing. But it was so fun. It was so fun to be in there and to sort of have these songs done. And we had sort of 2 rooms set up where me and Dan would be 3 rooms. Me and Dan would be tracking vocals in one room. The guitars and synths and everything would be done in another room. And then there would just be a room that was just full of stuff that we would just fucking make these insane percussion sounds out of. Like underneath everything, I think underneath most songs on the record, there's like a full layer of percussion that's going on and everything. And I think even on like All the Love in the World, there's like a full beat underneath that first like main riff. If you listen, you can hear like crashing and smashing. And that's like a detuned snare drum, someone slamming a dishwasher with all the glasses in it, like a bag full of like coins and like a fire extinguisher. And then we made a beat out of it, and then put that riff and then everything else on top of it. So yeah, it was fun to just like build and just be able to make it this like wall of industrial sound. But we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We're just like, this is new and exciting for us, and we can just go mad.
That's the beauty of being an artist and creating art. Like, you're not just making music, you're making art. You want to try things, you want to be adventurous. And it's like, that's one of the things for me where, you know, like, and I'm sure you guys have copped a bit of it. I know Parkway copped a bit of it. Any band that
I don't know what you're on about, man. It's been a full, every comment I've seen.
Everything smooth sailing.
But when people say, oh, like, not they sold out thing, but when they dumbed down their music, they simplified their music, it's just like, you really have no idea about what a band puts into music. Like, you really just don't get it.
It's always funny to me, because I'm like, do you think just that chorus from Deep Fake just comes out of nowhere? Do you think that that's the first take? Like, I'm just like, oh, that's easy. Like, do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, oh, I just wrote that, like, you know, singing, like writing melodies that are still dark and true to what Architects are, and not
Yeah.
like super happy and like just, you know, trying to make it creative and catchy and dark at the same time, and trying to hit all these little bullet points that you have of what I think Architects is good at.
Yeah.
And then someone's
Absolutely.
just like, yeah, it just sold out. It's like people think that just like pop music is just a piece of piss.
Just easy
like,
to make,
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody who tries to make pop music is a multimillionaire with chart-topping songs, right?
Exactly.
Like, fuck, man.
It's one of those things as well where it's always like, we've always kind of copped it a little bit, because I think bands like us, Bring Me and Parkway, cop it because you try new things, because you're there, you're in that situation of,
you're also in the spotlight the most.
Exactly. You're doing well, and you don't just want to rest on your laurels. You don't just want to just be like, okay, cool, here's Holy Hell Part 2. Here's Holy Fuck. You know, like
you heard it here first, people. Holy Fuck on its way.
You have to push yourself, because you want to feel satisfied. You want to feel like just joy off of what you do. You know, you want to feel like when you listen to a mix, you want to, or you listen back to a demo, you want to go like, yes, because that's it. That's all we're ever chasing, is that moment where you write a song and you go, oh fuck, we've unlocked it. Like that's it. You know, and that's all we're ever looking for. And that's the best feeling within writing music is that moment where you go like, this is it. This is what it needs to be, and then you put it out.
When you said before you don't like, you're not writing,
and you see the comments.
Yeah, and then they're like, it's fucking shit, and you're like, cool, man, see you at the show, because I know you're listening to it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You said before about trying to keep like, that's the not the like the seriousness and then like the somber that Architects is, but I feel like you guys have found a more playful element, particularly in the film clips and the way you're styling and the way you're kind of presenting yourselves as a band in this record. Was that a conscious decision, or is that finally you being like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want?
I think a big part of it is we did a lot of we've been through a lot of stuff. We've been through a lot of heartache and a lot of pain, and actually coming through that entire process of being there for Tom, losing Tom, and then having to be on stage after Tom was a really, really difficult and hard time. There wasn't really much room to express the fun side of the band, or the silly side of kind of like what we are as people, because we were kind of paying our respects you know, and you're in the spotlight, and you're wanting to talk about these important things, and the situations that you've been in, and you know, walking out on stage and just being funny and making jokes, and then going into a song like Doomsday Gone with the Wind, it was, and you know, playing a lot of the songs off of that record, it wouldn't have made sense. But I think as people, and actually it's important for people to know that, like, you know, you can still really miss somebody and be heartbroken and still be happy, you know, and you can have days where you're up and you can have days when you're down. But I think it was important to kind of show this side of the band that's always been there. That's always been funny. It's always been silly, and just try and not take ourselves too seriously, because life is really fucking short. And we've done enough photo shoots and video shoots of us sat there looking serious and fed up and angry. And there's enough photo shoots of people out there. We just really enjoy what we do. We feel very blessed to be doing it. And especially after 15, 16 years, especially after, you know, everything that we've been through, just to be in this position, you have to have fun with it, you know.
For sure.
And I think especially looking back at like videos like the Beastie Boys and the Foo Fighters, those are videos that stick in your head and make you smile because you remember seeing them for the first time. And I think that's what we were trying to do with Tear Gas. And I think some people were probably annoyed because they have this idea of us being a certain way, and us being these, you know, like the kind of poster boy metalcore, like they're our kind of band, this is what we've got, and people hate change, you know, and I understand that. And I also think some people heard a different song to what they were seeing as well. I think some people were seeing us having fun and they were just hearing a pop song because they just didn't link the two together. Whereas, like, if you think about it, coming off the back of the last record, the last single was Meteor, which is probably as soft as we've got. And then you come back with Tear Gas, and it's got like this big fucking breakdown in the middle of it. Well, like sort of breakdown, massive riff, and it's basically an aggressive song the whole way through. You know, I'm not like, it just is what it is. And people were like, "What is this?" And you're like, "Where were you the last record?"
Yeah, exactly, man.
You're angry with the wrong thing.
It's just crazy that mentality of people, because I mean, going back to what you said before about, like, you know, bands like you, Bring Me, and Parkway, like you're all #1 selling bands now. You're not playing small rooms anymore. You are bigger bands. And the thing that's weird to me is, like, part of the reason we want to do this is because we love this sort of music. We love pushing these bands. We love promoting these bands. We love helping more people listen to bands because they like watching us be fucking idiots and find something that they can connect with. We want all of our favorite bands to be the biggest band in the world. And every metalcore fan wants their favorite band to be the biggest band in the world. But when their band gets there and does what it takes to get there, they're pissed off with it. It's just like, what the fuck, funny, man?
It kind of reminds me of like in school, there was always that kid that had his band. And then when people started finding out about them, they were like, nah, hate them.
Gatekeepers.
You're like, what? I just bought this shirt. I love this band. You told me to check them out. I bought this shirt, and now you're telling me you hate them. It's one of those things. I think it's also like worth bearing in mind that, like, when bands like us, Bring Me and Parkway, do this stuff, it does. We become kind of gateway bands for other people as well. Some people will hear our bands and be like, oh, like, this isn't like with me. Like, when I first heard Under Oath and like Kill Switch Engage when I was a kid, you know, hearing those bands got me into Every Time I Die, Norma Jean, you know, Botch. It opened that world, and if it wasn't for those bands, I wouldn't have found out about these other bands. You know, I always feel like, it's just one of those things. I look at like these lineups and the bands that everybody is like, you know, the greatest bands of all time: Metallica, Sabbath, Maiden. They're like the greatest metal bands ever. Do you hear many like screaming in any of the things that they do?
Yeah.
You're like, no, but they're considered the greatest metal band
metal
ever.
bands
like,
of all time. Yeah.
It's like you don't have to just be screaming and have these things to be dark and to be a metal band. And look, I'm not saying that, you know, we'll never go back to that stuff. There's a lot on this record that is still that.
Yeah.
But you got to let people express themselves, because at the end of the day, it is our band, and we've given a lot of ourselves to people. And
the ironic thing is,
during what's happened.
The thing for me is, the ironic thing is that if the last album and this new album had still sounded like All Our Gods or whatever, like, you might have got away with it on the last one, but this one they would have been going, they're not the same fucking thing.
This is also the thing as well. Like, Holy Hell was Holy Hell because there was a lot of Tom's riffs, and there was a lot of songs that Tom had written. So now we are not that band anymore because Tom isn't here.
Yeah.
Josh is here, and Josh and Dan are our main songwriters. So we're not the same band. And this is a thing that I think gets messed around. Like, do you think that I should turn around to Josh and say to Josh, write a song that sounds like Tom?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, write a riff that sounds like, because there's plenty of other bands that are already doing that.
Yeah,
you know, I don't need to do that. There's loads of other bands that are stealing Tom's riffs. Josh doesn't need to do it because he's an amazing guitarist, you know. So it's like, we as a band are just this is us now, you know. And it's like, we're very respectful of our past and of Tom and the amazing records that he wrote, but he's not here to write them like that anymore. And I don't want to become an Architects band that's ripping off our own riffs, you know. So it's I mean, you know, I've heard some of the stuff that Josh has already started writing now, and that Dan's already started writing now, and, you know, God knows where the next record's going to go, but it's going to be interesting, it's going to be exciting. And I think you know, it's always just fun releasing a record and actually going out on tour and actually seeing how it goes down, because that's when you see it, you know.
You said about being a gateway band, and I think that's exactly what you guys have become in a great way. I was playing the new record yesterday in the gym full loud because I was really just like training and listening to it. And my business partner who I trained with came in, and he was like, after 2 songs, he's like, this is sick. What's this? And he asked me, and I was like, oh, it's like on the download. This is new uptakes. And he was like, this is the best I've heard. And he doesn't like heavy music that much.
That's awesome.
But he was instantly being like, this is sick. And I had that exact thought of being like, that's exactly what you guys have the ability to do now, is introduce people into, because exactly said, you still have your heavy catalog. You still got heavy stuff there. Your live shows are still going to be heavy, but you've now got something here.
It's like people just think we're just going to be like, you know what, for the set list tonight, let's just play 11 new songs.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, let's not bother with Doomsday. Let's not bother with Animals. Like, let's just play all these new ones.
You could really piss people off and just do acoustic renditions of the older songs.
This is my favorite thing. Someone messaged me yesterday. I was like, I did a tweet being like, who's looking forward to the record? Like, you know, what do you think is going to happen? Like, has anyone got any questions or whatever? I was flying over somewhere and I was like, put out some Q&A because I was fucking bored. And someone just replied being like, is everything a ballad? And I just was so close to just replying being like, yeah, we're just acoustic now. Yeah. We're just an acoustic band. Like, what the fuck?
Imagine having the balls to just be that much of a dick to someone who you clearly look up to.
Yeah.
Like, they say don't meet your heroes. Man. Sometimes don't meet your fans because they can be fucking entitled little babies.
Don't meet your heroes, don't meet your fans. That's so
there's
good.
So many. It's just one of those things, man. It's like it is what it is, and like that era of the band, and especially around Holy Hell and All Our Gods is really important to people. Trust me, it's more important to me. You know, the memories that I have around that time, and being able to come out of that and finish that record with Tom and then be able to carry on, like, it's really important to me, and that part of our legacy is really important to me, and those memories will always be some of the most important memories of my life. You know, being able to finish that record with Tom and the journey that we went through during that recording of All Our Gods, and then the album after, of all of us pulling together and learning how to be a band without our lead songwriter, and just show that just pure determination and fight can create something like Holy Hell. Yeah. I'm never going to not love that and respect that, you know. So when people like try and gatekeep my own records from me, then you're like, bro, you don't even know the fucking microphone I used, you know. Like, don't try and do that to me. It's just interesting, and it's fine, you know. It is fine, and people are just people can be horrible and be angry, and I think it's more of kind of a reflection on them and the way that they live their lives and the way that they feel, you know. I think even in terms of like in video shoots recently and stuff, like I've been like wearing a bit of makeup and like wearing, like as Nathan said, like wearing some like clothes that maybe I was probably a little bit too nervous to wear before, but I think it's really kind of empowering to do that in a way, because I feel good about myself. I want to wear that stuff. It's not like a label's going, you should wear some makeup. It's like I'm approaching that situation going, I want to do this. I want to try this out because I've been doing it 16 years wearing just jeans and a t-shirt on stage. I'm like, I want to try something new and just, I don't know, just like the bands that I listened to in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, like have fun. Like, I'm just a big kid at heart. Like, I want to wear flared jeans because George Harrison wears flared jeans, you know? Like, I'm just looking up to all these bands that I love and trying to be like that now, you know? Like, I'm not some kind of like a, you know, I'm not paving the way. I'm just like kind of going, that's cool, I want to wear that.
Yeah, and that's exactly, you should be able to just like, music is an expression of who you are. And exactly. I've always said about fashion too, like I really like fashion because I feel like it's a way of saying who you are without speaking, and I feel like you guys are showing that, which we're all here for it. So keep rocking zebra print boots.
Yeah, man. I think the when people let me show you this. Actually, I got these for this next tour that we're about to do, and if people thought the zebra boots were outrageous, you wait till you see.
Oh, this is a breakdown exclusive. Fuck yeah.
Look at these.
Oh, you fancy motherfucker.
They look like Saint Laurent. They look amazing.
Yeah, that's like diamonds on it.
Yeah.
So like if people are annoyed about the zebra print, they wait till they see Madonna walking out on stage. You know what I mean?
To tell you what, when you get here to Oz, we're gonna have a fucking field day dressing up. I'm gonna come as fancy as I can to your show.
Yes, that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. But yeah, I think if anything, when people are annoyed by that stuff, I think it just kind of shows this side of them that, I don't know, maybe wishes they were doing it. Because if you're like annoyed or pissed off about what someone else is wearing, it's like, what the fuck, man? Are you in school? Like,
yeah,
what
exactly,
is going on?
exactly. It's such a schoolboy mentality, and like, if you're going to judge the merit of someone's work on the fact that he's got a little bit of black stuff on under his eyes, it's like, have you never fucking heard of Motley Crue? Have you never heard of Kiss?
Yeah,
like, come on,
I'm
dude.
always like, yeah. I said this. I thought about this the other day. I was like, like, I love like a lot of black metal, and it's like, let me just. It's like, what do you think? What do you think this dude would think if people started getting annoyed about makeup? You know what I mean? Like, you're not allowed to wear makeup in metal.
You need to go more extreme with it, so you scare the shit out of people.
It's all or nothing. That's what we've learned here. It's either all blood and gore and face paint, or nothing.
Yeah, I think I'll just stick where Aussie is. Just keep doing, trying to do the Aussie shit.
I reckon go full fucking mayhem behemoth and start knocking on people's doors and go, "What'd you say about the new album, bro?" Just be like,
be one of those people like those videos online where like trolls get busted by people.
Yeah,
and that'll just be me, just turning up and just full corpse paint, just being like, "What was that you said about tear gas?"
I didn't like makeup, huh? Dude, we're so excited for the people to finally get their hands on this record. As we said, we've been really excited from the get-go for this sort of next step in the progression for you guys.
I think also your channel is really important. I think your channel is really, really important, because I think so many YouTube channels and stuff now, and reaction videos and stuff, are just purely excited by songs that have a breakdown in it, or B, are just super heavy, and everything else that gets reacted to is just not. It's almost just considered not a song. What I like about your channel is, like, you actually discuss the song, not just the breakdown or pause on the breakdown. You show the fun side of listening to music for the first time. I think that's really, really important, and the positivity is really important. I think, especially for younger artists and people that are starting to write music, I think channels like this are really important, because releasing music should be a positive thing. And I think recently it can feel quite intimidating and quite scary, So yeah, it's your channel's fucking great. And as I've already said to Nath, like, I watch it, I love it. So
thank you, man.
It's wicked.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we both like so many different styles of music. We've got vastly different favorite bands of all time, and that's not even the main stuff we check out on the channel. Like, my favorite band is Thrice, and who's yours?
It changes every week.
Yeah, there you go. Like, and that's the thing. We just love different styles of music, and like I said, my favorite band's Thrice. I love bands that evolve. I love bands that will push themselves and do something different.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of music, man. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like,
Thrice is mine. Thrice is one of mine as well, man. Like, just what an amazing band.
Amazing cover you guys did, by the way, as well. It was fucking.
Thank you. Yeah, it got an approval from Dustin and from Riley as well. So I was like,
nice.
That's a job well done when you get a nod from them.
Fuck yeah. I guess we got to let him go shortly. Do we want to give him a couple of would you rathers to finish? Have we got time?
Yeah,
we haven't been kicked off yet, so let's do it. Go quick.
All right. So, would you rather be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Star Wars, and who would you be?
I think I'd be in Star Wars, and I would probably be Luke. I think.
All right.
The right answer.
Yeah. Okay, mate.
Sure.
That's just purely just me being like, what's the one thing that you can name from either of them, and just run with it. That was it.
I'd be Chewbacca. I insulted someone today. I said you're more of a Jar Jar Binks, and they didn't like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, they are.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I'll take Jar Jar.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Would you rather play only festivals or only solo shows?
Oh my God, that's hard.
Yeah.
I'd have to go. I'd have to go solo shows, I think.
Why?
Because then they're just all your fans, I think.
Do you like the experience of trying to win other people over?
Oh yeah, it's the best, especially when you've like smashed it, and then you can just walk away being like, "Cool, I've done my job." As a front man, you're like, "That's the best feeling."
Yeah.
And it's also amazing to play to like massive crowds, but also, festivals. Club shows, arena shows are pretty fun as well.
Yeah, you're actually getting to massive shows on your own back now, so I guess you have that going for you there.
Some of our shows feel like festival shows that we used to play when we were younger, so it's pretty fun.
All right, we'll give you've got to listen to one of these songs once a day, every day for the rest of your life, okay? You've got to choose between Creed with Arms Wide Open or Nickelback Photograph.
Fuck.
Oh, we don't fuck around here.
I'd say Creed, yeah.
Interesting.
Do you know what's interesting? We did have Tub Thumpin' Chumbawamba as the song. Get knocked down, knock it up. You know what? I think
that's fully what I would have picked.
Since we've said that, I think I've heard that song every day.
Really?
And I don't hate it. It's still like after a while, I'm just like, Daddy boy, but I'm still loving it.
It's a big song around the football.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that brings me to my next one. Rooney or Beckham?
Fuck. Beckham was my childhood. Basically, it was my childhood. Was David Beckham? Just loving him, worshipping the ground he walked on.
Did you copy all the haircuts?
And then as an adult, but then as I grew up, Rooney was just everything brilliant about English football. He was just hard, would just give you everything, scored an insane amount of goals, and was just so underrated still somehow. I think because he just looked like a sort of standard British lad in a pub.
But 100%.
was just so talented. So yeah, I think Rooney. I've got a signed Rooney shirt.
No
my
way.
friend got it for me, so I'll go Rooney.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Final question. This one we'll ask everyone here is: you're walking on stage, you're dry, you're comfy, you're ready to rock. You've got to put on cold, wet underwear or cold, wet socks. What do you pick?
Socks.
Mummy.
Socks.
Yeah, I knew I liked you.
Dude, why?
Socks.
Just stand on that shit for an hour and a half. You play big sets now.
Doesn't want chafy thighs, baby.
I don't want chafe.
Yeah,
halfway through the show, last thing I want to be thinking about is red raw chafe.
That's all Johnny's ever thinking about. So
yeah. Socks you can deal with, man. Socks you can deal with because they'll just heat up quicker as well.
All right,
because you're just stamping around.
I don't know. I get pretty hot down there. I don't know about you.
You stop doing enough stomping. That's your problem.
I get very hot.
Yeah,
I get very hot. I'm I look like I've had a shower after every show. So
beautiful, love it,
dude. Thank you so much for hanging out.
A pleasure
to spend time with you. And
thank you very much. I'll see you in February.
Which is so close now.
Yeah, it's so close, man. Yeah.
And congratulations on the album. We can actually officially congratulate on the album now because it will be out by the time we drop this. So
amazing. Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon.
I'm excited to get out. I'm excited to play shows, and we'll hang out. We'll go grab a drink, or we'll go work out. We'll just do whatever.
Whatever you want, man.
Shop.
We'll be with our guy Richie. One of our best mates called Richie Hardcore, and he travels all around Australia with us, and we just train with him every day.
So I'm down.
It's just great. So we'll either run or do some sort of circuits or something. But yeah, we'll come to your gym.
Hell yeah, you're all welcome.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. All right, guys.
All right, man. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, legend.
Nice one. Thanks for all the kind words, guys.
Our pleasure.
See you later, guys.